The discovery. The Zarkak's archaeological fleet moved through the darkness of deep space with practiced precision. Their sleek vessels, adorned with the crystalline formations typical of their species, reflected the distant starlight as they approached their latest discovery. First Officer Kavol stood at the command center of the lead ship, her iridescent scales shifting colors with anticipation. "Another dead zone, another ancient wreck," muttered Chief Archaeologist Sin, his tentacles writhing with excitement as he studied the readings. But this one is different. The object of their attention hung against the backdrop of stars, a massive vessel of unfamiliar design, its dark hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Nearly 15 kilometers long, it dwarfed even the largest ships in the Zarkak's fleet. Its surface bore scars of ancient battles, yet its structure remained intact, defying the ravages of time. Preliminary scans indicate it's of human origin, Tyson announced, causing a ripple of surprise through the bridge crew. The humans, a species that had vanished from the galaxy over 1,000 years ago, leaving behind only fragments of their civilization. Their disappearance remained one of the greatest mysteries in galactic history. Kavol's outer membrane flickered with concern. The Council's standing orders are clear. Human artifacts are to be studied from a safe distance only. She paused, remembering the stories passed down through generations. The last expedition that tried to salvage human technology never returned. But Tyson was already moving to the primary scanner array, his appendages dancing across the control surface. "This is different, First Officer. The energy signatures, they're active. Minimal, but present. This ship isn't dead, it's dormant." The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. A functional human vessel could rewrite their understanding of galactic history. The Zarkaks, despite their advanced civilization, still struggled to decipher much of humanity's technology. Their rapid advancement and subsequent disappearance had left the younger races with more questions than answers. "Launch the probe drones," Kavol ordered after a moment's consideration. "Standard archaeological protocol. No direct contact until we've completed remote analysis." The drones deployed, their small forms gliding toward the massive vessel. As they approached, something unexpected happened. The ship's surface began to ripple, as if responding to their presence. Patterns of light, barely visible, coursed through its hull. "Energy spike," called out the sensor operator. "The ship's power systems are activating." Before Kavol could order a retreat, a beam of energy shot from the human vessel, enveloping each drone in succession. Instead of destroying them, it seemed to be scanning them, analyzing their construction and origin. A voice, speaking in perfect modern galactic standard, echoed through their communication systems. "Species identified. Zarkaks. Threat assessment. Minimal. Purpose. Archaeological study. Access protocol. Initiated." Sin's tentacles coiled tightly with excitement. "It's learning our language in real time, adapting to communicate with us. The artificial intelligence systems must be incredibly sophisticated. This is far beyond anything we've encountered in human ruins before," Kavol noted, her scales shifting to a deeper blue of concern. "We should notify the Council immediately." But before she could act on that thought, the massive ship began to transform. Sections of its hull shifted and reconfigured, revealing a massive docking bay large enough to accommodate their entire fleet. "Invitation protocol initiated," the ship's AI announced. "Your civilization has achieved the necessary technological benchmarks for first-stage access. Welcome to the Humanity Preservation Project. Designation: Prometheus." Kavol and her crew watched in amazement as more systems activated across the vessel's hull. This wasn't just another archaeological find. It was a deliberate message from humanity, left behind like a time capsule, waiting for the right moment and the right species to find it. "The humans didn't vanish," Tyson whispered, his voice filled with awe. "They were preparing for something. And I think we just activated their failsafe." As if in response to his words, new data began streaming across their screens. Star charts, technical specifications, and historical records, all carefully curated and translated into their language. But mixed with the knowledge was a warning, repeated in every major galactic language. The Harbinger's return. The cycle must be broken. The Zarkak's archaeological fleet had sought knowledge of humanity's past. Instead, they had stumbled upon humanity's plan for the galaxy's future and possibly unleashed something that had been waiting in darkness for a millennium. Keevel's scales shifted to the deep purple of determination. Whatever humanity had been preparing for, whatever threat they had foreseen, the Zarkaks were now part of it. The real question was, were they ready for what would come next? Awakening giants. The interior of the Prometheus dwarfed anything the Zarkaks had ever encountered. Keval led her research team through corridors that could have housed entire neighborhoods, their footsteps echoing in spaces designed for a species long vanished from the galaxy. The ship's eye, which had introduced itself as HFY, Advanced Recursive Intelligence Algorithm, guided them with floating holoprojectors that illuminated their path. The awakening sequence has already begun, HFY announced, its voice resonating through the vast chambers. The primary crew will emerge from stasis within the next 3 hours. They will require orientation and updated cultural context. Sin's tentacles twitched with nervous energy. Living humans. After all this time, he moved closer to one of the walls, studying the strange patterns that seemed to shift and flow beneath its surface. How is this possible? The answer came not from HFY, but from the ship itself. The walls around them transformed into transparent displays, showing the complex network of stasis pods that ran through the vessel's core. Within each pod, barely visible through a layer of crystalline frost, lay a human figure, time dilation technology, HFY explained. For them, only months have passed. The Prometheus was designed as humanity's contingency plan, our response to a threat we couldn't defeat through conventional means. Keval's scales rippled with concern. What threat could be so great that an entire species would choose to hide away their best and brightest? The displays shifted, showing images that made the Zarkak's research team recoil in horror. Massive dark shapes moved between the stars, consuming everything in their path. Entire solar systems vanished into their maws, leaving only emptiness behind. We called them the Harbingers, HFY continued. They emerge from the void between galaxies every 50,000 years to feed. Humanity discovered their pattern too late to warn the ancient civilizations that came before us. But we had time to prepare, to ensure that when they returned, the galaxy would be ready. A new series of images appeared, technical schematics, weapon designs, and defense systems far beyond anything the Zarkaks had ever imagined. The humans hadn't fled in fear, they had withdrawn to prepare, to give future civilizations a fighting chance. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. The stasis pods began to pulse with energy, their systems initiating revival protocols. HFY's voice took on a more urgent tone. First emergence imminent. Please proceed to the primary medical bay. The team hurried through expanding corridors, following HFY's guidance until they reached a vast chamber filled with medical equipment. The first stasis pod had already been transported there, its surface beginning to clear as the revival process neared completion. With a hiss of escaping gases, the pod opened. A human figure sat up slowly, dark skin glistening with melted frost. Captain Sarah Chen, according to the display above her pod, commander of the Prometheus's military division. Her eyes opened, taking in the assembled Zarkaks with remarkable composure. When she spoke, her voice was hoarse but clear. Right on schedule. I see our descendants have finally achieved the necessary technological benchmarks. Descendants? Keval asked, her translator struggling with the concept. Sarah smiled, a gesture that the Zarkaks would come to learn meant both amusement and appreciation. Did you think humanity simply vanished? We scattered our children among the stars, seeding countless worlds with our genetic material, allowing evolution to take its course. The Zarkax, the Nithar, the Velkan, all carry fragments of human DNA, carefully engineered to emerge over millennia of natural development. The revelation stunned the research team into silence. They weren't just studying humanity's legacy. They were part of it. Their entire civilization had been part of an intricate plan, spanning thousands of years. More pods were arriving now, more humans awakening to a galaxy that had forgotten them. Each brought with them knowledge and skills that had been preserved for this moment, this convergence that humanity had engineered across the ages. The Harbingers will return soon. Sarah continued, already moving to access the ship's systems with practiced ease. That's why we're awake. That's why the Prometheus revealed itself to you. We don't have much time to prepare. Kavul watched as the humans efficiently organized themselves, falling into roles and responsibilities that had waited a millennium to be fulfilled. They moved with purpose, with the weight of a mission that had spanned generations. The galaxy was about to change. The sleeping giants of humanity's past were awakening, bringing with them the knowledge and power to face an enemy that had haunted their nightmares for 50,000 years. And the Zarkax, whether they were ready or not, would be at the forefront of this ancient war. Sarah turned to Kavul, her eyes reflecting the determination that had driven humanity to undertake such an ambitious plan. Your people have grown beyond our expectations. Now, it's time for us to fulfill our promise to protect what we helped create. Legacy of Steel. Deep within the Prometheus's tactical center, holographic displays painted the room in an ethereal blue glow. Captain Sarah Chen stood before the gathered Zarkax leadership, who had arrived hours earlier after receiving Kavul's urgent transmission. The chamber hummed with tension as Sarah manipulated the holographic controls, revealing a map of the galaxy unlike anything the Zarkax had ever seen. These are the Harbinger attack patterns from the last 3 cycles, she explained, red lines tracing paths of destruction across the stars. They don't just consume, they harvest. They collect genetic material, technology, and knowledge from every civilization they encounter. High Admiral Vexthor, the highest-ranking Zarkax present, moved his crystalline form closer to the display. If they have been doing this for so long, why has no evidence of their existence survived? Because they're thorough, a new voice answered. Dr. Marcus Wong, the Prometheus's lead scientist, entered the room. His weathered face bore the weight of knowledge that had waited centuries to be shared. They don't just destroy civilizations, they erase them from history. The few artifacts that survive are usually dismissed as myths or anomalies. The holographic display shifted, showing a massive structure hidden in the void between galaxies. This is their nest, Marcus continued. We discovered it just before implementing the preservation protocol. The Harbingers aren't just predators. They're farmers. They seed galaxies with specific elements that encourage the development of intelligent life, then return to harvest when civilizations reach their technological peak. Kavul's scales shifted to a deep red of realization. The mysterious element we call zenith crystal, the one that accelerated our technological development, was planted by them, yes, Sarah confirmed. But humanity discovered this cycle, and we found a way to alter their seeded elements. The zenith crystals your people use aren't just tools for advancement. They're components of a galaxy-wide defense network. Every piece of technology you've built using them is part of a larger weapon. The revelation sent shockwaves through the Zarkax leadership. Their entire civilization's progress had been guided, not just by humanity's genetic legacy, but by a master plan to create an interconnected defense system. The Harbinger's return is imminent, Marcus added, bringing up new data streams. We're detecting their awakening signals from the void. But this time, we're ready. Every major civilization in the galaxy has unknowingly built a piece of the greatest weapon ever conceived. Sarah's hand passed through the hologram, highlighting thousands of points across the galaxy map. Each of these points is a population center using zenith crystal technology. Together, they form a neural network powerful enough to resist even the Harbingers. But it needs to be activated properly, coordinated by minds that understand both the old technology and the new. That's why we went into stasis. A third human voice joined the conversation. Commander James Rodriguez, the Prometheus's military strategist, stepped forward. We couldn't fight them directly. No single civilization could. But by guiding the evolution of multiple species, by letting them develop and innovate with our modified technology, we created something the Harbingers won't expect. Unity through diversity. The holographic display suddenly pulsed red. Aria's voice filled the chamber. Alert. Long-range sensors detecting quantum disturbances at the galaxy's edge. Harbinger scout vessels have breached the void. The room erupted into activity. Sarah's voice cut through the chaos with practiced authority. This is what we prepared for. Every piece is in place. Now we just need your help to activate it. She turned to Admiral Vexthor, her expression grave. Your people are descendants of humanity, evolved and adapted to this time. The technology you've built, the civilizations you've created, they're beyond what we could have achieved alone. We don't want to command you. We want to fight alongside you. The Admiral's crystalline form pulsed with deep blues of contemplation. You're asking us to trust that our entire civilization was engineered as part of a weapon against an enemy we didn't know existed. No, Sarah corrected. We're asking you to trust that humanity saw a future worth fighting for, worth preserving, even if we couldn't be part of it ourselves. Your achievements, your innovations, they're your own. We just made sure you'd have the tools you'd need when the time came. Suddenly, the ship's sensors detected a massive quantum surge. The holographic display filled with images of enormous dark shapes emerging from the void, their forms defying conventional physics. They're here earlier than expected, Marcus announced, his fingers flying over control panels. The Harbingers must have detected the Prometheus's awakening. Admiral Vexthor's form crystallized into the deep purple of decision. What do you need from us? Sarah smiled, that peculiarly human expression that somehow conveyed both determination and hope. We need you to rally the galaxy. The Zarkax have become natural leaders in our absence. While we prepare the Prometheus's systems, we need you to convince the other civilizations to link their Zenith crystal networks. Together, we can finally break the cycle. As the first images of the Harbinger fleet appeared on the displays, humanity's ancient warship hummed to life, systems awakening that had waited a millennium for this moment. The legacy of steel that humanity had forged across the ages was about to face its ultimate test. Breaking chains. The galaxy erupted into frenzied activity as the Harbinger threat emerged from the void. Through quantum communication networks established millennia ago by humanity's planning, the Zarkax diplomatic corps worked tirelessly to unite the galaxy's civilizations. Admiral Vexthor's voice carried across the stars, bearing a message that seemed impossible. Humanity had returned, and with them, the truth about their shared heritage and the coming storm. Aboard the Prometheus, Sarah Chen watched as thousands of ships converged on their position. The vessel's massive hangars opened to receive representatives from 24 species, each bearing the subtle markers of human genetic engineering that had shaped their evolution. The grand chamber that once housed humanity's sleeping army now served as an emergency council room. The Harbinger fleet will reach the galaxy's edge in 48 hours, Sarah announced to the assembled leaders. Every moment until then is crucial. Your civilizations have been unknowingly preparing for this moment for centuries. Now it's time to activate what you've built. The Velkin ambassador, his feathered crest rippling with skepticism, spoke first. You claim our Zenith crystal technology is part of some ancient weapon system. How can we trust this isn't some elaborate deception? Dr. Marcus Wong stepped forward, his holographic displays showing the intricate network of Zenith crystal installations across the galaxy. Because we're about to prove it. Ariah, initiate the resonance sequence. The ship's AI complied, sending a carefully calibrated signal through the quantum network. Across the galaxy, Zenith crystal installations began to pulse with new energy. In the council chamber, representatives watched in awe as their personal devices and technology responded. harmonizing with frequencies they had never detected before. Every piece of technology you've built using zenith crystals carries a quantum signature, Marcus explained. Together, they form nodes in a galaxy-spanning lattice. But the real power isn't in the technology. It's in you. Your species have evolved alongside these crystals, developing natural resonances with them that the Harbingers never anticipated. Commander Rodriguez's tactical displays showed the approaching Harbinger fleet, massive organic ships that defied conventional physics. They expect to find primitive civilizations fighting among themselves. Instead, they'll face a unified galaxy armed with weapons specifically designed to counter them. Kivil, now serving as liaison between the Zarkax and human forces, moved through the chamber, her scales shifting through colors of determination. We've analyzed the Harbinger scout vessels. They're already adapting, evolving to counter our known defenses. But they don't know about the changes humanity made to their seeded technology. The chamber erupted in discussion as species that had been rivals mere days ago began sharing military strategies and technological insights. The humans moved among them, providing context and guidance, but notably not taking command. This was to be a true collaboration, not a return to human dominance. Sarah watched the cooperation with pride. Humanity's greatest strength was never our technology or our warfare. It was our ability to unite, to find common ground in the face of overwhelming odds. We pass that trait to all of you, encoded in your very DNA. Suddenly, Aria's voice cut through the chamber. Alert. Harbinger fleet showing signs of quantum acceleration. Time to arrival revised. 12 hours. The news should have caused panic. Instead, it galvanized the assembled leaders. The Nithar, ancient rivals of the Zarkax, immediately offered their advanced shielding technology. The Velkin shared their unmatched navigation systems. Each species found their role in the coming battle, their technologies meshing in ways that seemed almost predetermined. Because it was predetermined, Marcus explained to Kivil as they watched the integration. Humanity didn't just guide your evolution. We guided your technological development along complementary paths. Every major breakthrough, every scientific revolution, they were steps toward this moment. The Prometheus itself began to transform. Sections of the massive ship reconfigured, revealing weapon systems that had waited centuries to be unleashed. But more importantly, it revealed docking ports and integration systems designed specifically for the ships of their descendant species. The Prometheus isn't just a warship, Sarah announced. It's a key. When combined with your technologies, it becomes something more, a focal point for the entire defense network. Every zenith crystal in the galaxy will resonate with its power. Admiral Vexthor's crystalline form pulsed with newfound purpose. Then let us show these harbingers what humanity's children have become, not just one species reaching for the stars, but many, working as one. As the final preparations were made, Sarah stood at the Prometheus's command center, watching the descendants of humanity prepare for battle. They had taken humanity's legacy and built upon it, creating civilizations and technologies that surpassed even the ambitious dreams of their ancestors. The Harbingers were coming to harvest a crop they had planted eons ago. Instead, they would face something unprecedented. A galaxy united, armed with their own technology turned against them, led by the very species they thought they had destroyed. The time had come to break the chains of the past and forge a new future, together. Dawn of Unity. The void between stars erupted with energy as the Harbinger fleet emerged from quantum space. Their massive forms blotted out entire star systems, organic ships that seemed to devour light itself. But waiting for them was a sight unprecedented in their 50,000-year cycle of harvest, a united galaxy, armed and ready. The Prometheus hung at the center of the combined fleet, its ancient hull now integrated with technology from a dozen different species. Captain Sarah Chen stood at its heart, watching as the battle plan they had waited centuries to execute began to unfold. All species reporting ready, Kivil announced, her scales shimmering with the deep purple of battle readiness. The Zenith Crystal Network is at full power. We've never seen readings like these. The Harbingers struck first, launching waves of smaller bioships that twisted reality itself as they approached. But the unified fleet was ready. Zarkak's crystalline shields merged with Vulcan phase technology, creating defensive barriers that adapted faster than the Harbingers could evolve to counter them. "They're confused," Commander Rodriguez noted, studying the enemy movements. "Their tactical patterns are breaking down. They've never faced organized resistance on this scale." Dr. Wang's voice came through the command network. "The quantum resonance is building. Every ship, every station, every piece of zenith crystal technology in the galaxy is feeding into the network. We're approaching critical mass." The Harbinger fleet's response was devastating. Space itself seemed to tear as their main weapons fired, energy beams that had ended civilizations throughout history. But as the beams struck the unified fleet's defenses, something unprecedented happened. The energy was absorbed, channeled through the vast network of zenith crystals that humanity had spent centuries preparing. "Now," Sarah commanded, her voice carrying across all frequencies, "execute Protocol Omega." The Prometheus's hull blazed with light as it activated its true purpose. It wasn't just a warship or a time capsule. It was a lens, focusing the power of an entire galaxy through the modified zenith crystal network. Every ship in the combined fleet became part of something greater, their technologies harmonizing in ways their original designers could never have imagined. The Harbingers reeled as their own weapons were turned against them. The energy they had used to destroy countless civilizations was now being reflected back, amplified by the very technology they had seeded across the galaxy. But victory would require more than just power. It would require sacrifice. "The feedback loop is destabilizing," Marcus warned, his hands flying over control panels. "The Prometheus can't contain this much energy. We need to end this now." Sarah's voice was steady as she gave the order that humanity had prepared for centuries ago. "Initiate final sequence. All ships, execute convergence pattern Delta." The combined fleet moved as one, generations of carefully guided evolution and technological development coming together in perfect synchronization. The Prometheus's systems began to overload, but not before transmitting the final command codes to the galaxy-wide network. Space itself seemed to shatter as the full power of the Zenith Crystal Network was unleashed. The Harbinger's organic ships began to break apart, their matter-manipulating technology turned against them by the very civilizations they had intended to harvest. Their vast consciousness, which had guided their harvest for millions of years, found itself trapped in a quantum cage of their own making.